Hello guys, and welcome back to Wardy NYM here for our second video on the channel regarding everything there is to know about the New York Mets. I'm so ecstatic to get into this channel and what the future holds for it. But regarding this video in particular, we're going to be taking a look at the New York Mets and their free agent options this 2020 MLB offseason. And now James McCann looks like a clear front runner over these past 24 to 48 hours as the next catcher in Queens. I'm going to break down for you why that makes sense, the type of contract that he's supposedly looking for, his connection to the Mets currently, and while I would definitely put him on a higher pedestal for long-term success for the Mets versus say someone like a JT Realmuto or a veteran in Yadier Molina, as great as both those players are, especially Realmuto, this makes so much sense for the New York Mets to go after a guy like James McCann. So that's what I'll be breaking down for you today. So make sure you stay until the end of the video, find all my thoughts and all the deets regarding McCann and these latest rumors connected to the New York Mets. And also make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you end up enjoying this New York Mets content. Trust me guys, this is just beginning here on the channel. If you want to kind of grasp an idea as to what to expect here, you can check out my other channel where I have over 2,000 subscribers at Wardy NHL. I will have in the description down below. That's where we talk about all things regarding hockey and the NHL overall. And as I've stated in my first video, the only thing that I've been wanting to do outside of my hockey channel is talk about the New York Mets, because they are my favorite baseball team. I love them more than anything else, and I simply cannot wait to see what the future is in store here on the channel. You'll be seeing a wide variety of topics, and I hope you guys end up enjoying them all, as they are all centered around, yes, the New York Mets. But thank you so much guys in advance for everything. Now let's get right into this video. James McCann, the 30-year-old catcher at 6'3", 220 pounds, was originally drafted back in 2011 by the Detroit Tigers. McCann has seen some tremendous growth in both his offensive and defensive game over these past 2 years since being acquired by the Chicago White Sox. This past season, splitting time with Yasmani Grandal, McCann in 97 at-bats had a total of 7 home runs, 15 RBIs, a .289 average, a .360 on-base percentage, and an .896 OPS. In the 2019 season and his debut season with the White Sox after his stint with the Detroit Tigers for the majority of his career, McCann put up phenomenal numbers in 118 games played and 439 at-bats, had a total of 18 home runs, 60 RBIs. He also had an average of .273 and an on-base percentage of .328, a slugging of .460, and an OPS of .789. Now look, I understand. James McCann is not JT Realmuto. Realmuto is the best catcher in the MLB today, and he's going to be looking for the bag in free agency, no doubt. We're talking easily over $100 million. There's been rumors to suggest that he would go for $200 million. I'm not sure if that's the case. I think that's probably stretching, but regardless, he's going to be looking for probably the biggest bag in all free agency, or at least one of them, including other guys, whether it's George Springer or Trevor Bauer, all depending on the term they go for, obviously. But Realmuto, if he's looking for a long-term deal, he's going to be a hefty cost. As great of a player as he is, realistically, the Mets have to be smart and strategic about the decisions that they make with their catchers. So here's why James McCann makes perfect sense. Well, we have seen reports over the past 48 hours that the Mets have been in ongoing talks with James McCann, that they have shown interest in him, and from the forefront, I love that idea. As soon as free agency started, and even before that, when I knew James McCann was available, I thought he would be a perfect fit for the Mets, because one, they can get him on a much better deal than they could with JT Realmuto, and I understand it's a great feeling knowing that the Mets aren't strapped when it comes to dollar signs anymore. That isn't the case with Steve Cohen, and I'll expand on that in a future video that I'm so excited to make, and I hope you guys are going to be looking forward to it. It's nothing like the other videos I've been having here on the channel. But in regards to McCann in particular, he's going to be looking for around what all the latest reports have suggested, around 4 years, maybe to 60 mil or so, maybe less, maybe more. I'm not sure, but that is the ongoing census as of now. So that would be a perfect fit for the Mets, as Wilson Ramos is out of the door. I love Buffalo during his first season with the Mets, but the second season, we all know what happened there, and he has just not lived up to the hype. He's not coming back to the Mets. We know this. He has bad knees. He's one of the older catchers in all the game, the slowest player in all the MLB. And look, that's perfectly fine. The Mets, if they can land a guy like James McCann and then have Nido, and I don't even know if they're going to have Nido next season. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him, because they're going to look to upgrade every position known to man. So as strong as Nido has been at times, he has lacked consistency, and he did have a hot bat last year as well, but he also dealt with injury, and then things really weren't the same after that. So I'm not sure what the front is in regards to the Mets second catcher, if they're going to go with Nido or not, but McCann would be the perfect number one for them going forward over these next couple years. Because while McCann's name might not be as flashy or, eye-popping as a JT Realmuto, he has had a fantastic bat that has been consistent for the White Sox over these past 2 years. He's in the prime of his career, had some good numbers with the Detroit Tigers as well, just not on the same consistent level as he's had them with the White Sox. And in my opinion, I would take McCann over Yasmani Grandal. As fantastic of a catcher Grandal is as well, McCann is the better defensive catcher, and that's why Lucas Giolito, for example, was his right-hand man. That's why Giolito definitely in part had his no-hitter this past season. He's really becoming one of the dominant aces in the MLB today. And McCann was fantastic with all the pitchers that came his way in the White Sox organization in that lineup. So who knows what he could do with the likes of the GOAT, DeGrom himself, Thor, Stroman, Peterson, whoever else it's going to be. McCann is going to thrive and get the best out of them possible. And that's really what separates him from the rest with a lot of these other catching options. Yes, you want a catcher that can hit. McCann can do that. That's the beauty of it. He's not going to be a problem for the Mets in this offensive lineup that's already loaded as it is. The Mets already have a foundation, as we know. Now you bring McCann in the mix, you're going to have a consistent batting catcher who really, when we look at things now, is what Travis d'Arnaud has been with the Braves. We all know the story there. It's just another idea with the Mets where as soon as they let someone go, they tend to thrive. Same thing with Justin Turner, but I'm going on a tangent at this point. My point is that the Mets can finally get a catcher in James McCann who's both strong offensively, but has a very strong defensive game. We're talking about a guy that can help frame things to really get the best out of all these pitchers with some inconsistencies, really could even help other guys that I know a lot of Mets fans feel iffy about, including myself and Steven Matz. Who knows what he can do under the power of James McCann, for instance, to really get his command better and everything in between. When we look at pitchers and we look at their up and down seasons, if say they're constantly up and down, whether it's a relief pitcher or a starter, a lot that goes into that is who's catching them. That is such a crucial factor. The Mets have had some of the worst catching. Wilson Ramos was one of the worst defensive catchers in all the MLB last season. Now you bring James McCann, who's the polar opposite, and he has a bat, and bam, good things are going to happen. So I'm ecstatic for the idea of James McCann. I want to know your thoughts on him as well. And while the Mets, who knows, they very well could go after a JT Realmuto. Maybe I'll touch on that in another video. Maybe they'll go after Molina still, because I know that they've shown interest in everyone, and rightfully so, that they're going to chime in at least. But McCann makes the perfect sense. They can get him on a team-friendly deal. Not that they even need him to. It's similar to Trevor May. They got Trevor May at a fantastic deal when they easily could have paid him more and not a problem. So the Mets are being very strategic in their decision-making as of now, and that's why McCann makes perfect sense. In the prime of his career, a big body that really takes up a lot of that plate, has great framing as it is, a fantastic bat to that in that lineup. So there is literally little to no inconsistencies for the Mets offense going into next season. And I truly believe James McCann can and will be that guy sooner rather than later. It will not surprise me at all to see them land him, and what a signing that would be. But that's going to conclude this video, guys. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, fellow Mets fans. Do you like the idea of James McCann coming to Queens, playing for the New York Mets? I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. When you look at all the catching options, I think the Mets can get more bang for their buck in a James McCann and be able to spread the wealth elsewhere, as we know regarding a lot of these other free agents. And I will touch on them in future videos, don't you worry, guys. But the Mets are in a prime position to take full advantage of this MLB offseason and free agency, and now is the time to do it. And James McCann would be a great piece to maybe be that second signing for the Mets after Trevor May. We'll see what happens, but I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, guys, make sure to check out my previous video. I will have it right down here below. I'll have it for you guys. And also make sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of baseball content, if you want to see plenty more Mets content going forward, because this is a Mets channel. We're going all in, just as Steve Cohen says. I'm all in, and let's go Mets. Let's do it, baby. And I'll see you guys next time.